Hey guys, in this episode I'd like to review the water knot. The water knot is going to be the knot that we use anytime we're tying webbing together. Webbing is going to be composed of this flat strap-like material. Comes in both a tubular form or sometimes just a single flat strap. Seat belts essentially are webbing. Okay, so anytime you need to tie this flat strap or webbing together, we're going to utilize the water knot. It's really about the only knot that we're going to do for webbing. It's a quite simple knot. It really is basically just an overhand knot tied flat on your webbing. Okay, so you're going to actually just tie a simple overhand, and you're going to tie it flat so it sits very flat, just like that. Okay. In this case, I'm going to use it to tie a webbing loop, which is the most common form when we're utilizing webbing to do. Okay. So when I'm tying a loop, one thing I want to do is just kind of trace this out so it doesn't have a bunch of twists in it. Okay, and then bring it back around. Okay. Then I'm actually going to go end to end and tie these together. Okay, we're going to do this as a retrace back through this kind of overhand water knot that we've started here. Okay, you're going to want to come in on the outside, not on the inside of the knot. If you try to come in on the inside, you're going to find this to be a very difficult knot to tie. Whereas if you come in on the outside, it's going to be quite easy. Okay, so we're going to stick that through. So we're going end to end, and we're retracing back through. Okay, take a little bit of tail out here. Bring it around, and basically everywhere this other one goes, we're going to follow, since it is a retrace, until we get to this point and we tuck it back through. Okay, and now what we've got is basically two overhand knots retraced over the top of each other like this. Okay, you're going to want to leave yourself about 2 to 4 inches or so of tail hanging off of this. This is a self-tightening knot, so once this starts to tighten down, it will eventually hit a point where it quits kind of sucking this back in. It'll suck this rope in, or this tail in, for a little bit, and then it'll just kind of cinch down to a point where it's kind of locked out and it can no longer do that. So this does not need an extra safety, and our team does not utilize a safety with our water knots. We just make sure we leave enough tail that it can't really retract all the way back through. Once this gets weighted very heavily, it will tend to weld itself, so it can oftentimes be very difficult to untie. So you will want to be cautious with weighting these if you have the intent of untying this later. Keep in mind though, webbing is very cheap, it's easy to replace, very inexpensive, so if you have to waste it and cut it later, no big deal. We can always replace webbing at a later time. Okay, so that's the basic water knot right there. Very simple to tie. I've got a slight variant on the water knot here too. This is in this case we didn't do it end to end, but we did it so we created a loop at the end of webbing, where we've just tied the water knot, left a big tail on it, wrapped it around, and then traced it back through right there. Okay, so that would be the water knot.